Hey guys, welcome back to Engineer Shop. Today in this video, you can learn to create CRUD Web App using ASP.NET 7. So this is our CRUD Web App and you can see here the list of some product. And now I'm gonna add the new product by clicking on create product. And here I'm gonna give a name to, let's say, LG TV. And here I'm gonna give a random description, and on the quantity, let's say I'm gonna give 2, and I'm also gonna enter the price. And you can also see here the current date. And if I click on create, you can see the product being added. You can also edit this by clicking on this edit option. So I'm gonna change this data and values, and let's say I'm gonna change quantity, price, and then if I click on save, you can see the data being updated for this product. And if I click on detail, you can see the information of the product. Finally, I'm gonna show you by deleting the product. If I click on delete button, it's asking whether we want to delete this or not. So I'm just gonna click on delete. You can see the product being removed from this field. So do watch my full video in order to create it. So I'm gonna just open my Visual Studio. So for this project, you need to have tools like Visual Studio, SQL Server, SSMS, and also .NET 7. I'll also provide the video of how you can download these tools on my description below. Do check it out. So now let's begin with our Visual Studio. Here you need to click on Create or New Project. And you can search here ASP.NET Core. And you need to click on the ASP.NET Core Web App consisting of MVC. So it provides the project template for creating an ASP.NET Core MVC views and controllers. Then click on next, and on the project name I'm gonna give CRUD Web App. You can also choose the location of your choice. I'm gonna make it to default, and then click on next. Since we are gonna make the project in .NET 7, so I'm gonna click on .NET 7. You should have .NET 7 Core installed on the system. After that, click on create. Now it is creating our project. So this is our project. And you can see here it consists of models, views, and also controllers. CSS, JS are stored in www root. And you can also change this start to IIS Express. If I start this project, you can see the interface consisting of home and privacy. So this is our default interface of our project. Let's begin by creating database in SQL Server Management Studio. So SSMS is a tool provided by Microsoft for managing SQL Server database. So once you open it, connect with the server name. Click on New Query, and you can create your database. So you just need to write create database, and let's say I'm gonna give my database name product DB, and you just need to click on execute. And on the database you can see that our product DB is being created. Inside this database, let's create a table named products, and you can add the column for these products containing the fields name, description, quantity, price, and let's say the created date. So this is the query for creating table products, and I need to and just execute this, and you can see the success message. If I go to tables, and we can see the products table, so I'm gonna select the rows, and you can see all the field being displayed in this table. We also have date field here for created at. So in this we should get the current date. So we need to provide get date function for created at. Write this query for created at. So this statement is adding a default constraint to this column. So it specifies that during an insert operation, if no value is provided, then the current date and time will be automatically inserted. So getDate is a built-in function in Microsoft SQL Server that returns the current date and time of the system. So now you can execute this. And you can also check in the product table by clicking on column inside the products and click on modify in the created at section. There is getDate in default value or binding. We can also insert the values to these fields. You can write here insert into products, and you need to include the field that is name, description, quantity, and price. You don't need to include the created date since we have already implemented get date, so we will get the current created date. And I can give your values. Let's say I'm gonna write Dale. In the description I'm just gonna write a powerful laptop. So I'm also gonna give values to the remaining field. And in the next let's say I'm gonna write iPhone 13. So I'll execute this. If I view the data in this table, values we have given, it's shown in this table. You can also see the current date of the created product. So that's how you can perform the insert operation inside SSMS. We need to connect this server inside our project, but before that we are gonna build the models. Let's install some intuitive framework tools. Right click on your CRUD Web App, and you need to click on manage Nugget packages. So here just browse and search Microsoft Intuitive Framework Core.tools. Since we are using .NET 7, so you need to install the version 7. Different commands for migration and DB context can be used by these tools. So this package provides the command line tools for Intuitive Framework Core. And also install the version 7 of Microsoft Intuitive Framework Core SQL Server. It enables the Intuitive Framework Core to work with Microsoft SQL Server database. We can see this installation in this package. Now let's create the model. Here in the model, just click on Add Class. And let's say I'm gonna give the name Product. Let's provide the attribute for the product. ID, name, description, quantity, and price. We can set the data type for this field. We are going to configure the DB context. Let's create new folder named context. Inside this, I'm gonna add the class, so we can name it as my DB context. This my DB context is a specific database context for our application. I'll create a constructor and include this context here. Here I'm gonna write DB context. This DB context is coming from Entity Framework Core. So this means that the class myDB context that we have created inherits from DB context. DB context is a part of Entity Framework Core library, which is commonly used for data access in .NET applications. Now inside this constructor, we're gonna take an instance of DB context options as a parameter. This class contains configuration options for the DB context, including details such as database connection string, provider, and other settings. So this part of the constructor is calling the base class constructor, which is the constructor of the DB context class. By passing the option parameter to the base constructor, you are essentially providing the necessary configuration for DB context. This constructor is crucial because it allows you to pass configuration options such as database connection string and other settings to your DB context when you instantiate it. Since we have created the model for product, we can use dbset to adjust our database classes. With this, EF core allows you to interact with the products table in the database. Inside the dbset, I'm going to include the product, and here now table should be products. It's showing error for product. It's because we haven't imported our models, so I'm going to import it. So now we are gonna work on connection string. We are gonna configure the database connection. You need to go to your app settings. Here include connection strings. Then inside it you can provide the name default connection. You need to include your server name here. I'm gonna go back to SQL Server Management Studio. You can go on properties of your server and you can see here name. You just need to copy from here and paste in the server field of app settings. And for the database, let's include our database name, which is the product DB. And you need to include trusted connection is equals to true. So this means that the application will use the Windows credential of the currently logged in user to authenticate and establish a connection with the SQL server. So we need to register our DB context option in our program.cs. So here I'm going to write DB connection and use the builder. Builder.services to add DB context. I'm going to include the created DB context, that is my DB context. And inside it I'm gonna use the options for SQL Server so that it configures the DB context to use SQL Server as database provider. Here I'm gonna specify the connection string, so which was our default connection. So this code allows other part of the application to receive an instance of my DB context through the dependency injection. Hence we have completed our model creation, DB context as well as SQL connection. So that was all for the first part of this application. So in the next video, we are gonna build MVC controller with views using the entity framework. We are also gonna complete this CRUD application. So thank you guys for watching the first part of the CRUD application.